Scientists have discovered, for example, that we actually require our dreams, our fantasies, as it were. And that if in a laboratory setting, people are denied their dreams, that is, if they're awakened whenever their eyes betray the movement that indicates dreaming, if they're awakened and then allowed to go back to sleep, and then awakened whenever they start to dream, regardless of whether they've gotten enough sleep, within 24 to 36 hours, these people who are not allowed to dream, to exercise their interior fantasies, begin to go quietly, but certainly psychotic. And at the end of 36 to 48 hours, they've just gone off the deep end. They are totally schizophrenic. Okay? Dreams are necessary, even daydreams, as a matter of fact. Well, fantasy is such an important part of our life that I thought it might be appropriate to talk a little bit about fantasy. And since for some reason ladies are far more comfortable with releasing their mind to fantasy, I almost always ask a young lady to participate. Hi, what's your name?
Jackie.
Jackie, come with me.
Oh.
Right on up here. Okay. How are ya?
Oh, fine.
All right, now Jackie, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, Jackie deserves an incredible amount of respect from you already, and let me tell you why. If you'll go to your public library, or your own if you have an extensive library, and pull down the Book of Lists, you will find in that book a compendium of a number of items ranked within their categories. For example, the 50 most populous cities, the 20 most populous children's names, and there is even one list, the 10 most common fears. Let me tell you something. Number one on the list of fears, above the fear of falling, of drowning, of burning to death, above the fear of dying itself, the number one fear listed in the Book of Lists is getting up in front of an audience. You have conquered that fear already. Good for you. Now, dear lady, I require now your imagination, because you and I, well, actually you, will take a fantasy vacation somewhere in the world, and you'll not even need to pay for it. You'll be paying for it with plastic money, someone else's, and you'll be flying on an airline of your choice. Now, for example, please place in your mind right now the name of any airline in the world. Now, be creative. Not just a Northwest Airlines, American, United. I want you to be creative with me, like an Air Zimbabwe or Sabina Airlines or Air Pakistan, something of that sort.
Okay.
Do you have that in your mind? So you do. Okay. Now, at this point, it becomes necessary for me to record those impressions. Here's one now. All right. Good. Creative indeed. All right. There we go. You may now share with the rest of the audience what I've already pulled from your mind. What airline did you choose?
Aeroflot.
You're very daring, aren't you? I mean, they have airplanes falling out of the sky. All right, now assuming you'll be flying on Aeroflot, gee, if you flew to Russia, to Moscow, would you then stay at the Comrade Hilton? Oh, please. I want you to think, please, now of any credit card in the world with which to charge your ticket. It can be MasterCard, Visa, Optima, American Express, Diners Club if you wish. You may use a gasoline company credit card. Shell, Texaco, Sinclair, there's a dinosaur for you. Mobile, almost any other. Or if you wish, a department store. It could be Nordstrom, Macy's, Neiman Markup, whichever. But place a credit card in your mind right now. Do you have it?
Okay.
I like the way she thinks. Okay. Let me now make a record of that as well. But the camera just loved that noise. Sorry. Let's take a look here. Credit card. Good. Okay. Now, if you would be so kind please, oh, got a fold there. There we are. Please share with the audience your choice of credit card.
Tiffany's.
Oh, I told you I like the way she thinks. Now, there is but one more choice, and that will be your destination, but please put nothing in your mind yet.
Okay.
Because now I think I know how well you think. I'm willing to anticipate your very thought.
Okay.
So, here we go. Yeah. Done. Three imaginings. Well, here, wait a minute. Three answers. Let me put this right here for the moment. As your travel agent for this fantasy tour, I have pre-selected for you a number of exotic destinations. For example, if you wish, you may take an escorted tour of Yugoslavia, including Serbia, Bosnia, and Croatia. Now, if that doesn't excite you, you may visit, if you wish, Gaddafi's Libya, where your vacation will be intense. You folks just don't really care, do you? And of course, as always, Saddam invites you to beautiful Baghdad. There's a trip for you. That ought to be a bomb. Speaking of that, we have lovely Lebanon, Karbam, capital of the world. And finally, oh yes, Iran, the jewel of the Middle East. And so now, your choice of these 5 exotic and lovely destinations, I think I know which one you're going to pick. So go ahead, make your choice. Sometime tonight.
Sometime tonight, okay.
All right, she chooses Libya, where your vacation will be intense. In fact, let me tell you a little bit about your vacation in Libya. Of course, Libya is known as an official sponsor of worldwide terrorism. And for you history buffs, it's only minutes from the Gulf of Sidra by F-14 jet. Tough house. Here, wait a minute. There are the 3 notations that I made. Remember, I wrote the first 2 even before you vocalized, verbalized, and let the cat out of the bag. And the 3rd I wrote before you even knew that there was a choice to be made. So now, if you'll just open the first and be prepared to read aloud to the audience what you found, because I thought that you would choose something exotic in the way of an airline, and you chose which airline?
Aeroflot.
And yes, Aeroflot indeed, or Aerofloat, depending, although they don't. And then you suggested in your mind, I picked up a hint of a very expensively maintained lady, and she chose for her credit card Tiffany's, and I anticipated she would choose Tiffany Credit, indeed. Save your applause for the end. I have a weak finish. Well, that's what my wife tells me. She's seen every prediction I make. And finally, before you even knew you were taking a journey to a place, I rather stepped into your mind and predicted you would probably choose this one. You chose to fly to Libya, and indeed I predicted Destination Libya. I can read you like a book. Give this lady a hand. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, this lovely little piece is essentially your 3-part prediction, exactly the same as Hen Fetch's mental epic. Only, I hope there are no dealers here, you don't have to buy that silly blackboard that's divided into squares and all of that stuff. Dunninger, you know, said, the great mentalist Dunninger said, every time you pick up a prop, your price goes down. Okay, now we're talking about a prop specifically built for a presentation. Obviously, a handful of brochures doesn't count as a prop. This is a really neat piece that depends upon the principle of one behind. Okay, not one ahead, one behind. And that is, the first time I wrote down on the piece of paper, I wrote nothing. I mean, if I'd actually been able to do this, I probably would have written Aeroflot, but I didn't. Let me get it from the back end first. When you, bunch of clever magicians out there, first saw this clip, how many of you thought, aha, it's one of those neat little clips where the thing goes up inside? And then when I moved it from the side to the top, then you said, yeah, I guess I was wrong. Right? Well, you weren't. It's one of those little clips that the thing goes inside. Okay. Now, for the record, this is known as an Austin, O-S-T-I-N, named after Bob Austin, the Austin switch clip. And it's got a little piece of paper on a rubber band, so when you do this, the little piece of paper goes away, mostly. Now, here, wait a minute. Let's move it over here. Try that again. Little piece of paper goes away. Okay. Now, if you happen to have another piece of paper in your hand that came from somewhere else, then, of course, you can pretend to take this one and actually produce this one. That is, you go up here and go, well, your timing is a little better than that. You see what I mean? Okay. Now, that's how you get the third part of the prediction, the third part of the triad, because you're one behind. The behind comes from actually inside the brochure. You see, I have a piece of paper with the destination of whatever particular exotic locale is on the brochure. I have a piece of paper folded, thusly, and slipped into a slit in the brochure here. Now, I've also written a couple of gag lines on the inside, so I have a reason to open it, you see. Now, unfortunately, that's where most magical thinking people stop. And remember, I said mentalism is different from magic. It requires a different mindset. Let me show you, for example, how a magician, and I'm not getting down on magicians, I'm illustrating the difference in the way the thought processes take place. But a magician with this very prop might do something like this. He might say, "Here I have my prediction. It's placed in full view where no one can tamper with it." Well, already we have a kind of a logic thing. I mean, why couldn't he just lay it down on the table? Nobody can tamper with it there either. Well, because you can't use this neat little clip if you do that. And then he would have a whole bunch of brochures, exactly as I do. And once one of them is chosen, then he would slip the little billet out of the inside and say, "Now, human hands have not touched this yet." You know, do the little thing. That's the wrong time to do it. You see, that's exactly when all the heat is on. I mean, first of all, the magician puts the heat there to begin with. "I'll place it here where no one can tamper with it." And of course, the natural reaction of the audience is, "Oh, really?" And so automatically their minds are spotlighted on it and focused on it. And so then when the move comes, if you don't do it perfectly, and even if you do, you run the risk of having the audience understand what you're doing. With the magician, all you get is caught. As a mentalist, you lose everything, your reputation, your fee, the whole works, okay? Because people want to believe mentalism's real, they truly do. So the way to use this is not when a magician would. You'd use it at a different time. I illustrate. Oh, first of all, I want to show you the little move that I used to throw you off. But it's really not necessary, but to be absolutely true to the way it was written up and the way it was contributed, I feel it's necessary to show you this. But in actuality, I probably wouldn't use the rubber band thing inside the clip at all. But you pull the billet out like that so it's on the outside of the clip, and then when you get set to move it, you just fold it over behind the clip like that and then just move the clip. It's a great throw-off for the guys at the club. That's when you'd use it. You wouldn't use it for laymen at all, okay? And then, of course, you just ease it up underneath the clip like that and you're ready to go. Well, with this in position at the top of the group of brochures. Oh no, by the way, when I do this, I always make sure that the brochure with the color on it is on the back side. That way the billet will show up better from stage. Okay. Like that, okay? It shows up. Now, here's how the work. Oh, and then what you might do, by the way, is when you prepare this billet, go ahead and write a little something on the inside, just in case somebody looks at it after you have it on the front of the packet. They can see there's a little something written inside. They don't know what. Okay. But now you're all set to start. When I began, I let you see me tear off 3 pieces of paper, fold them into billet size, and put them in my coat pocket. That was important, because later you saw me pull out 3 pieces of paper, write on them, and clip them. We start with 3, we work with 3, we end with 3. And we allow the audience, using the theory of Occam's razor, same cause for same appearing events, to mislead them. In actuality, there were far more than 3 pieces of paper, and one of them I never used. So here's how we proceed. You begin, 3 pieces of paper in your pocket. This is behind the group of brochures. This becomes a very natural thing upon which to write. You see, you've pre-folded the papers, you've torn them off the pad, you need some place to hold them to write, so you pick up the stack of brochures and you write. The very first time you write, you cover the billet on the back. Well, actually, you don't write because you don't know. But do take the cap off the pen. Okay. Really. Oh, and always use a felt tip pen because it's much easier for someone to read on stage under bright lights. So, you take the cap off the pen. Now, don't just pretend to write. Actually put your thumbnail down on the paper and make it scratch a little bit. All right? Because pens make noise too. All right? Now, there's only one person that will be able to tell. That's the person standing next to you. But if that person ain't buying it, you know, gives you one of these looks like this, or all right, the whole thing's dead. So therefore, you need to make sure that you communicate what you're actually ostensibly doing. Then you fold the paper, and you pretend to place it under the clip. Well, there's one already there. So you just kind of hold it there and do the thing with the clip like you're actually putting it there, and then just slide it off behind your hand. Turn this over, and there's apparently your first prediction, okay? Now, you need to go somewhere with this, because tell the audience, please, what airline you chose. She says, I chose Aeroflot. Very good. Now think of a credit card. Doing all the business with a credit card. Now, you've already got one in your hand, but obviously we can't use that one. You know, I mean, you can't say, well, we need another piece of paper. Ah, there's one now. That's not terribly mentalist-like. Also, if you go to your pocket too quickly, because it's already in your hand, if you just, bing, got it, you're out. No. Fumble around. Find it. Oh, yeah, here it is. Now you pull it out. Now you're set to write. At this point, you're saying, think of the credit card. You're actually writing Aeroflot. Or at least in her example, you're writing Aeroflot. That's not the one. There it is. So you're writing Aeroflot. Right, Aeroflot. Fold it up. Obviously, you don't let your on-stage participants see what you're writing. Then when you fold it, here comes the move. You don't fold this one square. You give it a little push like that, which causes it to look, when it's under the clip, like 2. This is when the work is done. Because now you go here to put it under the clip, and the 1 actually goes up inside the clip, like that. Now you see why you don't even need the rubber band clip, by the way, because you could push it up in there. Actually, you don't even need to push it up under the clip. You can do the exact same move you did before, pulling it off behind your hand. Okay? But anyway, now it looks like 2. So now you ask her to explain to the audience, not to me, of course, I already know. But tell the audience, please, what your choice of credit card was. She says, Tiffany's. I knew you'd be creative. Now, by the way, I always say that. Oh, very creative. So if later she says, MasterCard, you know, like I said, very creative. I mean, you can go either way with the line, okay? So now you're ready to do the third. Pull the paper out of your pocket, open it up behind, and concentrate. No, wait, I'll predict in advance first. You don't know your destination. I'm actually writing Tiffany credit, one behind. You with me so far? Then you fold it. This one you openly place with the other 2. And I always put it at a slight angle to the other. So now it really does look like 3. As a matter of fact, I very carefully slide all of them off like that. It looks like 3 from both sides. But if you slide it off and without turning the clip, it comes off, rotates, and drops in your pocket like that. It's in perfect position for the move later. Then she chooses one of the destinations. You open it up to read the gag lines. There must be something to read in there, or you memorize it. I prefer not to memorize. I just write it down. For example, with Saddam invites you to beautiful Baghdad, where you will get a personal audience with the father of the mother of all cliches. Yes, beautiful downtown Baghdad featuring hundreds of new hotel rooms, highways, bridges, airports, and other infrastructure. All right. Now the billet comes out in your hand. All you need to do is just bring it right up against the others. Pick up the papers, not the clip. Just grab all the papers like that. Bring it down this way, and you're done. And there is no move with the clip happening then because it's already taken place. And you're ready to work. All right. Now, I want to share with you some of the other lines on these. You don't need to. What I did was I went down to the print shop. I'm a computer nut. And I've got all of this clip art, these pre-drawn illustrations of everything. I have thousands of them, far more than is good for me. And so what I did was I went to the print store and I got these pre-printed brochure panels. You get about 100 of them in a box, and it's about $12, $15, something of that sort. And then I went ahead and printed Saddam with his crossed sword arch over the highway and his tanks and his picture on the side of a building and all that sort of stuff. And then I also ran them with the gags on the inside. For example, one of the gags for Yugoslavia, featuring guided tours of Yugoslavia. See the Yugo assembly line in action. Featuring the new Yugo exclusive anti-theft device, a larger nameplate. Definition of an optimist, Yugo owner with a radar detector. Definition of a pessimist, Yugo detector with the a Yugo driver with the club. Definition of a miracle, Yugo at the top of a hill. Anyway, here's another one. Wait a minute. Iran, jewel of the Middle East. We recommend you stay at the recently refurbished embassy suites, where accommodation will be on the American plan: bed, breakfast, blindfold. And the AAA, which is the Arabian Automatic Weapon Association, gives it 4 grenades. Let's see, we already did Libya. Lovely Lebanon, this one's fun, where you will stay at the beautiful Hezbollah Hilton, where every room now has an open balcony. You're welcome to dine at our Beirut buffet, where the hummus is on the house. And every registered guest gets a free Forrest Gump Arabic bumper sticker. Shiite happens. Anyway, if you're welcome to use those lines, by the way. If you don't care to use them, or if you might be sensitive that just because all of the trouble spots in the world happen to be of one ethnic type, it seems lately, you can go to your local hotel and just go to the bellhop's desk, and there will be a display of hundreds of brochures of local things of interest, so you can make it very contemporary to the area in which you live. If you were down in Orlando, Florida, oh my goodness, you'd have Disney World and Water World and Wally World and all that other stuff. I'm sure up here in the Portland area you also have other attractions. I just happen to be an Arizona chauvinist. I don't know of any of them here. And for those of you who... one more thing. In manufacturing these, it would serve you well when you cut the slits, and I'll show you how to do... Well, here, I'll just do that now. The slit is cut in the folder so that this one goes right in there like that. Notice I have a line up here. I put those on with my printer because in the next brochure, it'll go up here. The next one down here, the next one up here, the next one down here. That way all of those billets won't stack up and make a real thick lump. Okay? There's another problem you have, and that is if it's just a slit, the possibility exists that it will push through and fall out. And then you're really up the creek, okay? The way to avoid that, and I've illustrated it here on the back side, where the billet goes in, I've drawn these black lines around the edge of where the billet would go. Then you just lay down a little bead of glue, just children's glue, school glue, Elmer's glue, whatever, and then fold the brochure cover shut. And that makes a pocket for that to stay in, and it won't come out the other side then. Okay, and if you would like to have these complete with art, I do have them available on my sales table later, but you can be just as clever and fun by using the ones from your local source. This delightful piece was contributed by Dr. Richard Mark. He's a psychiatrist in Miami, Florida, and this was in one of the early issues, and it is called Destiny's Destination, and I hope you enjoyed it.